Today I would like to show you different point of view of MVVM architecture. I will try answer some basic questions. For example, does MVVM solve any particular problem in our iOS world? Do we need this solution, or do we have any alternatives solution? But first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mateusz. I work at Elpassion for more than 4 years. The thing which I'm really proud of is that we have really strong tech team in iOS department. We test to the limit, and we not only speak about tests, but we write them. So it's big difference in comparison to other companies. The agenda for today is as follows. First of all, I would like to explain why I decided to make this presentation. Secondly, we will see where it comes from which technology. Then we will see MVVM in iOS world. We will go through alternative solutions, make some conclusions, and there will be time for questions. Okay, so let's start. Why anti-pattern? What's wrong with MVVM? Basically, the answer is nothing, because there is nothing wrong with MVVM itself. It's all about how people mixing different patterns, different concepts together, and does not comply to basic programming rules like solid. So, thing which motivates me to do this talk was, of course, Swift code. Swift code, including mine 3 years ago, code which I saw in other companies, open source project available on GitHub, and tons of articles which promotes MVVM like golden mean and best solution for everything. So let's start from the beginning about MVVM itself. First question, is this concept new to someone here? I'm wondering. Okay, so model view model. First two words are self-explanatory, I think. And the last part is an abstraction of a view which expose public properties, basically, and commands. Here we can see that in MVVM we have the most important part of MVVM is that MVVM has a binder. So we have connection between view model layer and view. Do you know who and when MVVM was created? Any guess?
Microsoft, but I don't know when.
Okay, it's good answer. It was invented by Microsoft by two architects, Ken Cooper and Ted Peters, to simplify event-driven programming of user interfaces. And introduced first time in 2005 by Gossman, one of Microsoft WPF and Silverlight architects. WPF is a graphical subsystem for rendering user interfaces, Windows-based application. It was released as a part of .NET Framework 3.0 in 2006. So let's look at basic approach of MVVM in C# world. It's hard to read, but I will go through. We have here customer view model class written in C#. We have here 4 properties, which two of them, first two, converts properties from a model to some different type, and in another two we have some logic which compute, depending on amount from a model, some label amount color and property is merit. Secondly, we have simple function for displaying our view model in UI component. Basically, it's a code which binds view model with UI elements. Here you can see a table which show us C# code on the left, which was presented on previous slide, and XAML code, respective code, which do the same. And rather than writing full C# code, we can use XAML on the right. But the best part of it is that you don't even need to write this binding code in C#, because IDE allows you to generate this code automatically for you. So it's really powerful in terms of MVVM in C#. Like you can see, MVVM was created to solve concrete issue on specific platform like WPF, and in that case, it simplified connection between XAML and C# code. So the most important part of this quote is I consider MVVM to be a tailor-made for the WPF and Silverlight platforms. Okay, let's dive into MVVM in iOS. The main problem with it is that, and I saw it in all implementation in different projects connected with MVVM, is that we pass all delegation actions, tap gestures from our view controller to view model, do something with it, for example, network call, and after that we need to get back to our view controller and do some logic. So it definitely sounds like unnecessary layer. You need to create binding, pass data, and handle everything, and do the rest in your view controller anyway. So I try to find some different definition of view model, and we will see that view model means different thing for different people. Let's look at first one. Don't worry, it's quite long, but it's long on purpose. Looking on the definition like this, we can agree that view model do too many things. Let's read it together. View model is an abstract object between a model object and view controllers, which performs any data transformation necessary for presentation, as well as sometimes networking and database access, might do a little form validation and any other task you feel like throwing in there, and acts as a jack of all trades object originally intended to transfer weight away from your controllers, but ultimately creates a new kitchen sink for you to dump responsibilities into. Now I want to show you my code from one of my previous projects. I'm not proud of it, despite this class has 100% code coverage. A part of those properties which indicates basically view state, we have some functions for presentation logic, invoking network calls, and paginations. It's still not most hardcore example, which I can show you. There are many like this, where view model has a lot of different properties and do too many logic. Okay, but you can ask what is wrong with it. Let's analyze this code together. We have logic for some view state, button state, table view state, attendance state, callback for presenting alert or screen, cells tab callbacks, notification about list being refreshed, some state depending on our permission or different nested view model, delegate, notification state, and some state connected with permission. I don't know basically what it means, but it doesn't matter in that case. I just want to remind you that it's just an interface, not in implementation. So from my perspective, view model in many cases is nothing else than trash. You put in everything there, and okay, you clean your view controller, and it's super short because you move whole logic to another place, but it's not a good solution. It sounds definitely like life hack. Do we really want to solve this problem this way? Let's get back to my view model, which I showed you previously, and let's analyze all components. Apart of those properties, we have those functions, which I will show you how we can solve it later on next slide. In this specific implementation, in using this save list view model, view model has 115 lines of code, bindings 190 lines of code, but view model bindings, view model has 290 lines of code. So it's definitely too much logic in one place. From my perspective, it's not. I want to say that everyone makes mistake, but it's much more important to what you will do with this knowledge in future. So let's look at second definition, which is much simpler. View model is a model for the view. Yes, it is. It should be dump struct that is passed to a view to indicate view state and populate its subviews. Simple as that. So regarding to my previous example with save list view model, we can do this in this way. So here we have equivalent of previous version without action and network methods. Another example could look like this, that we have, for example, NS attributed string or UI image or nested view model. I've already presented this equivalent, but what about those action methods? Where we should put them? Those methods definitely control something, so maybe we should put them to a class which has a troll inside. Thing which probably comes to your mind, okay, but right now we will not improve anything because we will end up with MVC, Model View Controller, or Massive ViewController. No, it won't. We don't like Massive ViewController. Don't worry, we can handle this in a better way. To prove that it works really well and it's scalable, I will provide some data from our application that we made at El Passion several months ago. It's real life example. We had there 200,035 lines of code, over 6,000 Swift files, 8,200 unit tests, 204 view controllers. Average file length was 35 lines per file. code coverage was 99%, and file over 150 lines does not compile. Only 88 files over 100 lines. I know that it's really surprising and it blows your mind that this class should be responsible for controlling the view. It's even hard to guess by its name. Oh wait, it's not hard because it has controller inside its name. So why, I'm wondering why people try to put whole logic to magic object called viewModel, which can do everything for us. We can split easily our viewModel to separate classes to be consistent with SRP rule. Some services for network calls, data providers which transfer API responses to easily readable by the view, notification handlers for managing different types of data, database repositories for storing objects, and many child controllers. Now I want to show you some really quite simple application. Here we can see a list of items embedded in table view, of course, and there is a possibility to go into details after tapping on specific cell. After tapping on buy button, we can see an alert with confirmation. Simple as that. And important part of this example is that please pay attention to the thing that we are displaying the same amount of data on the list and on the details screen. So it's really important because in this case we can use the same viewModel instance of viewModel. Here we can see the code which allows us to present detail screen, and here we can see that we take some item from items array and we pass it to our details view controller. Good reason to do this could be that we don't want to repeat our network calls and some logic which viewModel do for us. In our viewModel we have a closure which is invoked every time when user tap on buy button. I will show you two different types of bugs which in two different implementation. One of them use closures and another one Rx Swift. Let's look at first one with closure. Here we can see that I'm first tapping on buy button on our list view. Then we go to detail screen, tap buy button again, but on the detail screen, and we have crash because we use the same closure, the same instance of our viewModel, so we set the same closure in two different places. Of course, we can fix this easily by passing weak self and providing guard condition, but it's not what we want to achieve. In second example, we use Rx Swift. It do the same thing, but here we can see that first I tap on our list, then I go to the details, tap on buy, and we can see that we receive 2 events, first on our list view controller and second one on details view. And it shows us that reusability is really pure, because in that case it's normal thing that we want to pass the same instance to 2 different controllers, but we ends up with this. Another thing is that in MVVM we try to delegate everything from controller to view model, and then we get back to view model from view controller. I repeat that it's definitely unnecessary layer. Let's look at this image, which shows us example of one of the screen in our previous application, which we made at El Passion. And who wants to bet how many view controllers are here?
4.
Okay. There is one parent, so the correct answer is 5. There is one parent with 5 children, and one of them contains another 2 children. This empty state and scrollable list. So, like I said previously, we can handle this really easily by splitting our parent controller to smaller ones. I said previously that we had 204 view controllers in our application, and I just want to add that 75 of them were parent. So rest of them were children. Here we can see, or not, our controller. This is the code of this previous slide, and we can see that we have here children factory, which was injected using initializer, and we create 5 children and embed we embed them in our view. My favorite statements, which I heard from people who want still use MVVM. One of the goals of MVVM on iOS is to clean up the mess of responsibilities that are usually included in view controllers. But we finally ends up with Massive ViewController. So, okay, we have small view controller with massive view model. So this quote perfectly sums up this. You clean up one place and make a mess in a different one. Or it's like extracting code from your view controller, which is implementing UI table view data source protocol, to extension. It's just hiding problem, not fixing something. When I recall this argument, it makes me laugh because of one situation which happened in one of my projects. Let's recall this together. Okay, John, we do MVVM because it's really easy to test our view models. Okay, so please show me the tests. We don't have them. Why? Because of logic is quite simple. But you said that you made view models to extract business logic from your view controller because it was too complex. Am I right? Yes, it's true, and it's easy to test. It always sounds like this when I heard argument about testing view models. So it's not a good way, definitely. Or it's like telling someone that Sosnowiec is nicer than Paris, and when you asked him when he was there, he answered never. So with MVVM more testable, without MVVM less testable. You can answer this question on your own. I have good argue to prove that MVVM is so popular. One of the argue. I recently had 4 recruitments call, and everybody asked me about MVVM. I answer each of them that yes, it's overkill to use it, and I don't like it, and they are surprised every time. So regarding to this argument, I just want to say that it's not always good to follow the crowd, because potentially the hardest way could be the easiest one. So let's go to advantages of our view model. Nice way to keep state of the view, but in terms of simple struct, this is the only pros in which I wrote, and I'm wondering if using simple struct is called view model is MVVM. It's hard to say for me. Disadvantages is definitely break SRP rule. Like I said previously, I saw it in each project. So because it contains loading data from multiple APIs endpoints, have some logic for filtering data, logic for formatting strings composed from several other values, being data sources or delegates of our table view or collection view, or saving or persisting data. Another thing is poor reusability. Big amounts of different things which happen in a single view model class makes this class hard to reuse. So they are so focused on formatting specific labels, being a delegate or data source, specific table view. Poor testability, yes, because it's connected with SRP rule. View model handle big amount of logic, and then it's hard to test, or at least hard to understand what's going on under the hood. This is the kind of pain that can come from view models or any other classes. It's not straightforward connected with MVVM. Original in MVVM implementation did this one created for WPF platform allows us easily to create data bindings. So it's really powerful thing on this platform. So this binding save a lot of needless code by allowing developer to connect view elements and data model. But here you need to write extra code. And at the end, I would like you to remember 3 things after this presentation. First, which I heard from guy who is sitting here, Kuba, our architect at Opassion, and is that architecture or design patterns are to solve problem, not to create them. And I strongly believe that most developers use MVVM because they can, not to solve specific problem. Another thing is that please don't put network calls logic and different action to your view model. Use view model as a simple struct. And last one, don't repeat mistakes from your previous projects. Here you have all references which I used to prepare this presentation, and this is all. And thank you for your attention, and if you have any question, I will try to answer them.
I wonder, because I used to use a lot of child view controllers, like you do, but recently I just use views. So, because I don't need all the life cycle of view controller. So I would have like a view.
Yeah, but
would have like a delegate, and all the, like you probably use, like going back from the child to parent. It's the same, but the view, I think it's, you have all like zip files with the view. You can like encapsulate it easier.
Okay, but in this case you end up with logic in your view.
No, because I have like a view as a view.
Okay.
Then I can have like view model for this view, you know.
So MVVM.
Yeah, but it's like MVVM inside.
Putting logic into view model.
I think it's not necessary to have extra with view controllers. If it's not, because for me it's not a real view controller if you only use it as a view, like you guys do it, yes?
No.
You don't need like view did load, view will appear, because it's like a given, it will load, it will appear.
Yeah, sure, but you said that you put delegates and data source to view model. Am I right?
I mean, my point is, if you use a lot of child view controllers,
Yes.
maybe they are not really view controllers anymore, because they are more like extended views, I think.
No, maybe maybe I not explained everything correctly, but the point is that we put logic inside our child view controllers.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, but I mean when you
So it's not.
because there is no.
So it's not extension of a view. It's something which controls the
Yes,
view.
but what I mean is that in iOS, this view controller, child view controller,
Yes.
it doesn't need all the view controller, like you subclass view controller, yes? But
Yes.
you will never use most of the parent class. You will never override probably view did load, view did appear.
So you are suggesting that if you not override some methods,
No,
you
maybe
don't.
it's better to just have a view and add extra class that is totally independent from UI kit as a view.
Yeah, but finally you need to put this extra class.
You need to bind it to the parent.
Yes, and you need to use somewhere this class.
Yes, but
And
I think then
where you want to put it?
I can
it's all
show
about-
you later.
It's all about what is really controlling the view.
Yes, it's
Is it the view model that controls the view, or is it the view controller?
Yeah, exactly. And this is my point. Yes.
yeah, but my point is that it's
Yeah.
maybe not the view controller as a view controller, iOS view controller, but there is also view controller as an abstract view controller. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be like UI
Yes.
kits view
It
controller,
doesn't
yeah?
need to be. That's
Yes, exactly. But in this case, you need to create also some extra class abstraction, say controllers, but I not mean UI view controller subclass, and still you need to write it.
Yes,
So
but
I think it's fighting with platform, with UI kit.
really, because it's if you try, you will see that it simplifies and it's you get rid of all stuff that you don't really override anyway.
Okay. So I not agree, but I respect your opinion. So we can speak up later about it. Okay, any other questions?
So I wrote a few articles about
Yeah.
MVVM,
Yeah?
and there's a saying that sometimes there's a saying that MVVM is practical for big projects and stuff like that. And how could you refer to that? Is
So
sometimes projects so small that it's good to use MVC, and in some point it's gonna grow that big that it's good to migrate to MVVM.
Okay.
Is that true, or is it a myth?
So you are asking if using MVVM for big projects will help us with something, yeah?
Yeah.
I think that, like you said, that in small project we definitely should use MVC because is a really good solution for it. And regarding to this question, I think that it's not about choosing architecture. You can still write really good code with MVC and really big application. It doesn't matter. But the point is that in all implementation which I saw, it looks like this. So I'm not sure if it answers your question or.
Okay. Thanks.
I have a question.
Okay.
Because like you said that you are trying to make view model structs.
Yes.
You have a like scenario where you're like fetching some data,
Yes.
maybe using some like persistence also.
Sure.
And you need to like in one place maybe combine all of those data. And how do you like do this in one like single view controller when you have like in one struct with one initializer?
Okay.
How do you combine it? Like how do you make it happen?
Okay. So the question is, how do I handle response from API, transform it where, and
Yes, using single view model like being
sure. We use data providers, which allows us to transform API response to our view model struct, and we use view model in our view controllers. It's not necessary in each case. So when it's necessary, a lot of transformation and logic, we create some data providers. But in most cases, you can basically make a call to API and display some API response. So we don't even need to create view model struct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we told that there was a problem with a Massive ViewController, and
Yeah.
you solved it by creating many view controllers.
Yes. In one parent.
Couldn't you do the same thing with view models?
With many view models?
Yes.
Of course, you can.
So
And we do this.
the only difference is having a reference to a view versus having a reference to elements of view in a struct.
Okay, but
There is no question, but it's all really similar in all approaches.
yes, but it's, like I said, it's still you put logic from object which should control something to view model. Why? I'm wondering.
I have a question about binding between view model and view.
Okay.
Said in .NET we have like out of the box some binding instruments,
Yes.
but in iOS we like face it with three choices.
Sorry.
In iOS we face it with the three choices. First one it's a write code by write binding by your own.
Yes.
Second one it's like use some
RX Coco.
bolt. On the third one it's implement RxView. By your experience, which one you prefer?
We used both of them, and basically it's doesn't matter because you need to still you have of course some reactive extension for UI kit elements in RX Coco, which we used in our project, but still you need to write this binding code. So of course there will be much less code than not using this reactive extension, but still you need to write it on your own. So.
But in each project you use Eric Swift, or sometimes you write your binding code without frameworks.
Okay, but I'm not sure if I understand your question. So you are asking which solution I would prefer, or definitely if I can use a reactive extension, I will use it, and we use them. It's not connected with MVVM itself. You can use it in each architecture, in every architecture. So it doesn't matter. But of course, if you can write less code, it's much better, in my opinion.
Imagine that you have to create the application screen
Sure.
that calls to, for example, 3 APIs, and where you will put the logic, filtering, combining these responses. As you said, you will create data providers, okay,
Yes.
but for repositories, but
For a place where I want to transform response API to view model struct.
yeah,
Yeah.
where you will.
In data providers, exactly.
So I think this is exactly view model.
No, because it only do this thing, not tab gestures, handling tab gestures, notification, pushing new screens, and so on.
Okay.
So it's much big. It's big difference.
One data provider
Yes.
or one view controller or something like that.
I don't want to say that I always creating one data provider for one view controller, because it depends always. But in most cases, probably yes, I will create one. If I will have, I don't know, 7 children, probably I will think about splitting this logic into smaller classes. But in a simple case, probably I will create one data provider. Okay, I think we need to finish.